Penalty that he was fined for what he said, not necessarily what he did. Knowing that, will that change how you conduct your podcast?
No. Some of it is a bit common sense, right? There's just some things you probably shouldn't touch on, I brag about might not be the correct word, but I still am under the thought that he could have kept what he said in the podcast, but the fact that they clipped that audio and that video portion and promoted the podcast to get listeners, I think that's what made NASCAR step in and do something. I think just the fact that they promoted it and said, hey, click here, listen to more of this, I think that they didn't want to get into it. And I think if it would have just been audio piece and not been used to promote it, I think that Big Brother wouldn't have had to step in and do something.
What do you think about the future of Bristol in the spring race? Should it be dirt? Should we go back to concrete? Where are you at?
I am a team concrete guy. I don't mind dirt racing. I just don't like getting dirty.
I don't think.
Yeah.
So, if they put back concrete, are you okay with a dirt race like an outdoor or somewhere else? To keep that?
I think there's a place for it. Yeah, I think that the dirt is probably a little bit better in those middle states of just like the black dirt just seems to be a little more conducive for our heavy cars to be able to pack a bit better and slide around and put on a decent show. So I don't know. You also have to think about the infrastructure too. Like Cup race is different than a truck race. You're getting more people show up to a truck race anywhere. So that's way above my pay grade, and I'll just go wherever they tell me to go.
Other than Eldora, do you know of any tracks with the necessary infrastructure that could host a Cup race on dirt?
Dirt track?
Yeah, dirt.
I'm not going to throw any recommendations for dirt tracks out there because I think I would rather see us on an asphalt track. There's plenty of good short tracks, and I mean, we still got Kentucky. I think we should go there, once every three years or so instead of letting that thing rot. I mean, we just reconfigured it and thought to put on a decent race, and we stopped going there after a year or two. So I'd like to go to Iowa. I'd like to just start weaving a couple of these tracks that are kind of left out in the pasture to die. I think we'd like to lose some of these dates that we go to twice. I'd like to see the second Richmond date go to Iowa or go to Kentucky. And I get there's ISC, SMI conflicts there, but I'd like to see a little bit of variance with some tracks. Maybe not tracks that there's markets that we need to go to once a year. There's markets we can go to twice a year, and there's markets I think that we could probably go to once every 3 years.
When it comes to these penalties and these appeals decisions, do you think there's maybe a transparency problem when it comes to NASCAR communicating with drivers and teams?
Well, the appeals deal is a completely separate animal, right? I mean, I think there's a transparency problem between the appeals panel and NASCAR. If they are setting a precedent and then the appeals panel overturns it, they still found them guilty, but they gave them 100 points back, which is the most detrimental thing of the entire thing. So I think NASCAR has every right to go back to the rule book and just strike out a couple liners to say, hey, if it's either a penalty or it's not, and we set what the penalty is. So interesting times for sure.
How harmful would it be to an organization like Spire if NASCAR sent you a form letter saying that your charters were worthless?
I don't know, man. I don't have any equity in team, so my job description stays the same. Try to go drive fast in circles and be a good salesman off the racetrack for our team and be a good spokesperson for our sport. But definitely some tense times, I think, with team owners but I don't think that it's going to I don't think it's to the point of, a letter saying that. I think that both sides are willing to play ball here. It's just anytime you're negotiating, no matter how big or small of a contract, and this is one of the ones with 3 commas attached to it, not 2, there's going to be some bent feelings along the way to where you get to a point of both sides feeling like they're giving up something to get a deal done.
This is Wyatt Watson with Frontstretch.com. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out one of the 2 videos beside me. Go to Frontstretch.com for more racing content.